Xal'atath just appeared again. She's hunting Cthulhu. We've actually hinted at this a little bit before, and I think this theory is true. Let's see what Doran has found in terms of Xal'atath hunting down Cthulhu.
So Zalath has appeared once again in Season of Discovery only a few weeks back. This time she is doing us a favor that she hopes we will soon be able to repay. Seeing that this is Zalath in Void Elf form, it is almost certainly her traveling back in time from our timeline, and Season of Discovery is
she traveling back in time or to an alternate timeline? I still don't know. Is Season of Discovery considered an alternate timeline or a reverse timeline of WoW? Either way, I would say it is nearly confirmed that this is the same Xal'atath that exists in our current timeline. It's not a copy, it's not a second one. It is her jumping between the two.
Up right when War Within is about to release, which means she's literally doing side quests while waiting for War Within, just like us. Remember, Xal'atath was never actually in our timeline. Last time we saw her in the main timeline was in BFA. The one little glimpse we got in Dragonflight in 10.1.5 was actually in a time travel scenario, so she was at that point in the midst of time travel. Seeing that Archerage is likely going to wrap up Season of Discovery, why is she going back to the pre-Sword of Sergera when Cthulhu was active, and what exactly is she planning to acquire that will lead to War Within in the first ever WoW crossover event?
WoW crossover event,
or anything else warcraft related, Gamio has some excellent.
I wish they would redo the opening of the Gates of Ankarash. I would love a world event like that, man. It would be so amazing. I love world content like that. Hopefully they're gonna watch this and say, Samiccus suggested, let's reopen the gates, let's do it.
So I previously made a theory that Xal'atath is gathering all the old gods. She already got N'Zoth through her own blade, she got Yogg-Saron through Galakrond's essence from that time travel scenario. So the natural conclusion was that she was getting Y'Shaarj from Pandaria, because we got roadmap hints that 10.2.7 is based in Pandaria.
Time running Pandemonium, who knows? Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that we could be going back to Pandaria and it has something to do with the old gods.
The Pandemonium feature, we also got the Harbinger quests in the same patch, so, you know, Harbinger quests based in Pandaria. I mean, not exactly hard to connect 2 and 2, especially as Y'Shaarj
opening the gate almost broke the game. Yes, it did.
And the Dark Heart is literally the name of 10.2.7. Now, I'm not so certain that is the case anymore, because first of all, we learned that Deathwing's artifact itself is called the Dark Heart, and because it seems highly likely that Pandemonium might not be story related whatsoever, and in fact, it might just be another event like 10.2.6. Personally, I'm liking that they're experimenting, but I'm not really liking
I don't think it's going to be an outside of WoW event like 10.2.6 is. I definitely think it's going to be a PvE event, and it's going to be an in-game event. I would say it's almost certain that that's what's going to happen. Now, what kind of event is it going to be? We've really had no hints. We've seen up-resing of some assets out in Pandaria, but that's about it. We have no direction, no understanding of what it means. And the thing is, Season 4 is starting in 2 weeks. We already know that. Season 4 is starting in 2 weeks. I think April 24th is the launch date for it. Yep. That Tuesday the April 23rd is going to be the launch date of season 4. So we're going to be getting something soon. With 2 weeks left to go, we should be getting some information. But what that information is going to be, nobody has any idea.
That they called Plunderstorm Dragonflight 10.2.6 because it literally has nothing to do with either 10.2.5 or Dragonflight itself. So because they did something unrelated like this, it is entirely possible that Pandemonium might not even be a story based in Pandaria, and it might not be related to Y'Shaarj and the old god essence. However, regardless, the hints are still there. I mean, she's gathering the children of the first flesh, the Nerubians, that are in the lowest most layer of Kazakar, and we got a Pandaria updated book.
And she's using the Nerubians to gather old god blood. That's also already confirmed in the lore.
Half a year back that stated that the Mantid have returned back to worshipping Y'Shaarj. Most interestingly, the actual old god Mantid territory is in the most western part of Pandaria, which is literally right next door to the Xal'atath affiliated Nerubian territory we will see in Khazalgar. However, even if this is not the case, Xal'atath is definitely plotting something big, but it might even be more unpredictable than anything we had seen before. While we're in the midst of a crazy lore drought as we wait for the War Within Alpha, we have actually gotten new Xal'atath hints in Season of Discovery only a few weeks back, and I think this is 100% related to the storyline that is going to open the World Soul Saga. Both Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Season of Discovery had Xal'atath hints, and the final phase of Season of Discovery is said to be right around the release of War Within later this year, so it is without a doubt going to be a connection up, crossover of sorts. You've definitely already heard about the previous Xal'atath hints, but let me just state that what they're doing with Season of Discovery is completely unprecedented. It really seems like the first WoW crossover event that they had ever done. The lore itself of Classic is actually canon. We had confirmation from Chris Madsen himself, and the Season of Discovery is not...
One really cool thing about what they've been doing in Season of Discovery that I liked a lot was the image of Xal'atath standing next to that fallen crystal from the sky, right? And we all know that Hallowfall, that's not the tip of the sword. That crystal is something... The lore says that these were humans who had dreams about a something falling from the sky, right? And then they went there and they found this crystal there. So the fact that she was there kind of doing research, maybe picking up some knowledge about where this crystal came from, what it's all about, I think Hallowfall is going to have a big relation to that, and its whole switching between the void and the light, and why all of a sudden these Nerubians show up every time it goes void form. Who knows what all of that is about, but I do like that they're kind of hinting at it in Season of Discovery.
An alternate timeline, but in fact it is what they had called found photograph. The simplest way to describe it is that this is lore that has actually already happened in our timeline, but we are just getting the context now.
Oh, okay, cool. So it is
sort of feeling
it is a past timeline then. It is a canonized past timeline. That's good to know.
Story gap. So the found photograph in question is 100% Zalath. There's really no point in even speculating. I mean, in no way is the game calling this character Xal'atath officially, but we are getting a void elf called a shadowy figure that is essentially like 99% Xal'atath. I mean, based on the fact that
even the way she talks or the way she uses other players, the way she's talked about using other characters in the game, it's very clearly her.
She's wielding a dagger, and the way she talks exactly like Xal'atath,
exactly.
and we spent quite a bit of time with Xal'atath in our dagger in the past, so it's not really that hard to recognize her. However, here is the most interesting thing to keep in mind. Xal'atath is not actually a void elf, despite the fact that we know her as such, we have seen her as such in all the artwork. The reason she's in a void elf form is because that is the body she took at the end of a quest time back in BFA, but she's just a mysterious entity that is possessing a random void elf. This really brings the question, if this is a story that already happened, how is Xal'atath a void elf in Classic? Because first of all, void elves don't even exist, and at this point of time in history, she should have been inside the dagger. Even if she was projecting herself somehow to the dagger, why would she project herself as a void elf that once again don't even exist at this point in time? And that is also just a random body she took all the way back in BFA. My thoughts are that this is almost certainly time travel, and this is our timeline Xal'atath going back in time, not an alternate timeline. They said it's not an alternate timeline, just our timeline a few weeks back, so she's traveling in the exact same timeline. Like, this is Xal'atath post her appearance in the portal in 10.1.5 when she took the Dark Heart artifact, but pre-War Within release, meaning she's going to jump out of Season of Discovery to Kazlagar, which, as I said, would be
one thing I feel like nobody's talking about is we've kind of just like overpassed it, is how is she doing that? What is she using to travel between time? I don't think there's ever been confirmation that void magic can allow you to travel between timelines. So how the hell is she doing that? She get a bronze drake to be her slave or something? What is she using to go open these portals between timelines? It's pretty crazy. And we've never seen it done with void magic before. Infinite dragon flight? Maybe, but that's what I'm saying. Like, did she get some dragons to get on her side? We have no confirmation that she's done that yet. But maybe that story will reveal itself at some point.
A completely unprecedented crossover event. Furthermore, the last time we saw her in the game was in 10.1.5, which was literally a time travel scenario. Keep in mind, you have seen her with the new model and everything.
Have we seen the Infinite Dragonflight interact with her in the game yet? I don't remember ever seeing that. I mean, it happens in the Mega Dungeon. She doesn't actually talk to them. We just kind of have the whole thing go through. She made a deal with them. She got a Ridicron on her side. Yes, she did. She did. But does a Ridicron have the ability to time travel? I don't know if that's confirmed either. I haven't seen him do it. Yeah, she made a deal with them. Oh, she did? Is that canonized? Has she made a deal with the Infinite Dragons? Iridicron had the Infinites on his side. Maybe. Okay, so maybe that's how she's doing it then. That could be it. Via her relationship with Iridicron. Iridicron has a relationship with the Infinite Dragons, so they're using them to time travel. That could be it. That's an interesting thought.
is all from the future, that is the war within. The only time we had seen her in Dragonflight was when she traveled back in time to see Galakron, so she was already in the midst of time travel. She probably traveled to the defeat of Galakron, took the stuff, then went to Classic. Now she's going to come to our current timeline when War Within released. Here's even more evidence that supports
He did time travel in
First
that dungeon,
appearance
that's
we
true.
saw of Xal'atath in Season of Discovery was in Phase 1, where she's just chilling, you know, randomly next to a light shard that seemingly fell out of the sky, and she offers to help us. Keep in mind, this light shard is entirely new. It's not something we had previously seen in Classic, and it is almost certainly related to the light shard that also fell out of the sky that drew in those Zarati paladins to Kazakar. She's definitely going to be messing with that big light crystal in Kazakar as well, because as you may know, it is turning into the void in the trailer itself, which just so happens in the exact same timeline when Xal'atath is gathering the children of the first flesh and corrupting everything with the void. However, here is the newest addition we only got a few weeks back in Season of Discovery Phase 2. We cross paths once again with the shadowy figure in the Gnomrigan crafted item questline, where we discover a void core, and luckily for us, Xal'atath appears and offers to charge our void core completely free, just out of the goodness of her heart.
Such a good girl.
She says it will not cost us anything, that she believes in the benefits of altruism, and she enjoys cultivating mutually beneficial relationships because who knows, soon we might be in a position where we can help her with the exact same act of kindness. Now here are a few interesting things. People started getting bugs in Season of Discovery where they're getting possessed by Khatoon, getting these Khatoon buffs, and also Xal'atath's minions appear as far as better.
That's true, Artemis. You did remind me. That's what's her name says. Yeah, more oh God, what's her name? The little gnome infinite dragon. Morshi, Chromie. Yes. Morchi is the evil version of Chromie. Yeah, Chromie is the one who says that. She says Iridikron and the infinite dragons are working together. This is bad, really bad. That's true. So yeah, that totally makes sense. That via his relationship with the infinite dragons, he is getting them to also help out Xal'atath. That's the direct combination. So maybe she hasn't unlocked the ability to time travel until recently, and that's why she's going back and forth so much. That could make sense. Yep.
Ankiraj, where Khatoon
bit heavy on the
one of
eyeliner,
the final storylines of Original Classic, and very likely will be what is going to wrap up Season of Discovery right when War Within is going to release. Xal'atath is obviously super relevant, as this is where the sword is. It is going to be key to the World Soul Saga, as that is where the announcement cinematic was based in. It is very likely she may be getting something from Xal'atath, very likely Old God related, with her Dark Card artifact she took from Iridikron. But the reason she went to Classic is because this is when Khatoon was active, and this is prior to the Massive Sword, so likely she's gathering something from the pre-sword Khatoon era of Xal'atath. My biggest speculation right now is that I think the favor we are going to do for her later on is going to be us helping to yeet her back in time to the War Within, and we are not even going to know we actually did this. So just think about it. She's not actually in our timeline. Last time we saw her in our timeline was back in BFA. The only time we saw her in Dragonflight was in a super ancient event where she took the Dark Heart filled with Yoxaron's essence. Then she probably just went back in time to get something from Classic, and then she will likely return back to the War Within, and she will obviously succeed in this. As
she is a harbinger, right? By definition, a harbinger brings about something. It seems like she's doing some kind of summoning ritual, maybe to bring a Void Lord to our planet, who knows? But she's definitely gathering parts of old gods. Now, she's gathering blood of an old god. We know that she's using, all of the Nerubians to do that. But some of the parts of the old gods have been destroyed, so it would make sense that time travel would help her do that, right? Going back in time and gathering parts of old gods back when they still existed, where in our current timeline, they no longer do. So that could certainly be it, that this is part of her gathering to create this summoning ritual.
Seeing her wielding the Dark Heart in the War Within
creating the ultimate old god, maybe.
Thank you for watching. Check out the first roles being playable by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
Yes. Yeah, void stuff happening in the second expansion. Yeah, a lot of, obviously we have the night expansion for sure. That's going to happen. But we don't even have to wait that long. There's void stuff happening in the next patch. With, I think, part of the whole Pandemonium is going to be void stuff related. And we're definitely getting the Harbinger questline, which would certainly have some void related stuff going on in it. So yeah, the void stuff is coming. Void theme stuff is coming. We know that. How fast? well, within 2 weeks, we're going to get the next Season 4 begins and everything else kicks off. So I'm excited for it. We'll see where the storyline goes.